This is me, crapping my pants as I walk through the doors to an Easter service my family forced me to go to, full of snotty teenagers and crabby adults that want nothing more than to never see me again. Wait, it's not that I hate the concept of religion, or even dislike listening to sermons recapping metaphorical, miraculous stories that loosely relate to the situations of nearly everyone precisely lined up in the pews. All I know is that I cannot wait to leave in approximately an hour and a half. So if I, a moderately faithful and fairly open-minded teenager, can't stand the atmosphere of my mother's beloved church, what exactly makes it so insufferable? And how on earth can I convince my parents that another church might be a little closer to the so-called home of God? I'm Emily Barton, but my friends call me Ames. And if you're also struggling to find a faithful environment that is actually a pleasant place to be, you've come to the right place. Welcome to the podcast that explores all the ups and downs and in-betweens of organized religion. Welcome to the Lord's Crib. Walking into any new space is terrifying. Most people can agree on that one. However, what specifically about walking into a new church is so exceptionally horrifying for teenagers? According to Tom S. Rayner, former pastor and founder of the pop and Christian blog Church Answers, concludes that 79% of people determine the quality of a church by how welcoming of an environment the church provides upon entrance. But what can someone do to make you feel welcome? And more importantly, how can they do absolutely the opposite? I called up an old friend from the church I grew up in, hoping she could give me some solid answers.
Hey! So, what makes you feel very welcome and comfortable when you first walk into a new church or any new place that you've ever been?
I feel like just people being nice and saying hi and feeling welcomed in a space when people approach you and stuff. And just the overall community around the church and the people that are in it. If they're nice, then I would feel welcome in it.
Yeah. And what about making you feel unwelcome? How can people do that?
Just being mean and brushing you off just because you haven't just because you're new there or because they don't agree with the way you live, or just judgy people in general, because I feel like you can really tell when people are judging you, especially in a church. They make it a point that they're judging you.
Do you think that there's anything that a church owner or someone could do to make a church more welcoming even when they're not present in the room?
I feel in my opinion, not really, because my main problem with the church and why I don't go is because I don't agree with a lot of the ideology of where people use the Bible to just how do you say this word?
Excuse?
Yeah, to excuse a lot of different disgusting behavior, and they just use it as a backbone to be I can do this shitty thing because I'm a church person and I believe in God, and I just don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, so it's more like a people problem instead of a church as a whole problem.
Yeah, because also a lot of people misinterpret the Bible and they pick and choose what they want to believe in the Bible, and I just don't agree with that at all. I just feel there's a structural problem that needs to be fixed with people that go to church, or just people in general.
Yeah.
It's a little clear to me now that it's not necessarily the God part of church that sucks, it's the damn people. So what can church leaders do to get their truckload of snot-nosed sinners under wraps? Carrie Newhoff, churchgoer and faithful blog owner, has a few suggestions to make your church more outsider-friendly. Number 1, cut the long announcements. No one really cares about your personal life as a pastor when they don't know you. No offense, but cut to the chase. Number 2, scratch the unspoken rules about assigned seating. Nobody gives a singular flying fart if you and your husband sit in the far left pew every week, Linda. Someone was sitting there before you. Get lost. Number 3, most importantly, and I cannot stress this enough, please stop writing your own songs. In any given religion, there's a wide variety of beautiful songs that are sang at every church, and pretty much everyone knows the words too. The 13-year-old trying to fit in with her new Sunday morning buddies isn't going to be too happy when you bust out an original piece that only you and a few close friends know the words to. To get some deeper insight on how church leaders welcome newcomers, I interviewed the greatest Sunday school teacher on this side of the dirt. My mom.
The way that I made the students in my class feel comfortable was to make sure that I learned their name quickly. If they were new, usually the parent would introduce them. If they didn't, I would say my name and ask what their name was. And as they were answering that question or their parent was introducing them, I would observe how they were acting. Were they making eye contact with me? Were they really engaging, or were they shying away? And if they were very nervous, then I would greet them with a smile, and then I would back off a little bit and let them relax and kind of get used to their surroundings before I engaged them more. And then throughout the hour that they were with me, I would be sure to use their name a lot. Everyone loves to hear their own name. And include them in any activity or conversation that we were having and addressing them at the same time. Another way that I would make them feel comfortable is we kind of had a routine in our classroom that of course the people who would come often already knew. So I would be sure to explain in detail everything that we were going to do so they knew what was coming and didn't feel like they were lost at all. Most of the time people would warm up fairly quickly. A typical kid, you could engage them and they would be having fun fairly quickly. The more nervous kids, you just have to be a little quieter in your approach.
While feeling unwelcome in a new place is always hard, it's sometimes even harder to know what to do to make sure that you're being welcoming. So, along with the advice from the wonderful, beautiful Annalisa Barton, I leave you with 3 truths that I just pulled right out my ass. Number 1, lead with love. Kind of like the phrase, innocent until proven guilty, it is utterly important to treat people with kindness and respect unless they prove themselves unworthy of it. Number 2, don't ask people to behave before they believe. There are so many unspoken rules that come with any given religion. You can't really ask people to follow them blindly before they even know what it means, what they're doing, or what those rules even are. Number 3, share your faith, not your brokenness. We are all broken people. We know that. What we don't need to know, however, is the way in which other people think we're broken. Please, for the love of God or whatever the hell you believe in, keep it to yourself. Anyway, I don't really have much left to say, so I guess my work here is done. Peace and love, everybody.